Yeah, hotel brothers and sisters. I was back to Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and now I'm going to just give you my um, opinion and how I feel about the great Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. He was a great inspiration to me, a great brother, a great role model. Someone, if you are a revolutionary, and I mean not half-ass, down in the trenches revolutionary, he is an excellent model to follow. I've seen him debate devils all over the planet and defeat them. I've seen him come out with his books, and it'd be 5, sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 of these devils. Dr. Such and such Esquire, Dr. this and Dr. that. And he literally tears them apart, piece by piece, in all debates. But what happened, he was treated as Malcolm was treated by Minister Farrakhan. Suspended, became permanent, then murdered. Same exact way. And all he done, let me make this clear so everybody can understand. All Khalid Muhammad done was repeat the same thing that Minister Farrakhan taught him to say. He didn't say not one word that was out of the context of what he was taught. Not one word. But yet, when the whites come to Farrakhan and say, what are you going to do about Khalid Muhammad? He runs and suspends him. Is this good enough for y'all, sir? Instead of standing up for him. Because this is what you taught him. But see, they know that. And that's how I know Minister Farrakhan, unfortunately, works with, opposing agencies that are hindering and making all our effort to destroy black people. The Nation of Islam is just is like Dr. John Henry Clark says, showbiz liberation. Everybody wants to be well dressed and have the finest clothes. Malcolm wore thrift store shit. His furniture in his house was thrift store shit. Broken up shit. Used furniture. For those 6 girls. But his commitment to the nation and Elijah Muhammad was one of the most important things in his life. But see, Malcolm wasn't one of the most important things in the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad's life. That was the difference. Now you see Minister Farrakhan $3,000-$4,000 suits, and his son. It's a fashion show. It's a fashion show. Flip open the Quran, and you're well versed in it because you've been in it all your life. So you can really trick a lot of people in terms of knowing that book. But your character stinks. And based on the history of the Nation of Islam and the Moore Science Temple, I think Noble Jew Ali's commitment was much more stronger. I believe he loved the people more. I believe he dedicated himself to the people more. And that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. However, that's just my personal opinion. And please respect it. Nevertheless, Dr. Khalid was one of the greatest black men of our time. If we were to get liberated during the new millennium, it would have been through Dr. Khalid. All we had to do was follow his instructions and stand up and not be afraid and march and fight, bleed, kill, and die for black liberation like everyone else did. And we would have had our independence now. We've had our liberation. Fannie Lou Hamer, who came up with the term the Black Panthers, the emblem, she came up with everything. Because the Black Panthers was first in Lyons County, Alabama. Fannie Lou Hamer was the one who invented the cliche, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Fannie Lou Hamer, who was beaten within inches of her life by white racist police. Both eyes were knocked out of the sockets. Jaw was broke, nose was broken, eardrum was shattered, ribs, breasts were bruised. But she was a soldier. Fannie Lou Hamer was a soldier. And we need to start recognizing her a little bit more, brothers and sisters. Study her. Don't let her go and walk around in vain. Don't let her energy be in vain. Fred Hampton. Another Khalid Muhammad. This is Khalid Muhammad of the 60s. And see, the only thing that I didn't like about the Panthers, matter of fact, Fred Hampton was the chairman of the Chicago division of the Black Panther Party. But one thing I didn't like about the Panthers, they welcomed Europeans, and which was their downfall, which was their complete, total downfall. They were a pro-black unit. A lot of the things that took place, a lot of the people that were killed, a lot of the people that were framed for murders and spent decades in prison, some are still locked up, is a direct result of allowing Europeans who were agents, FBI personnel, informants that brought the Panthers down. Fred Hampton was one bad brother to be 19 and talk like a 50-year-old brother, 50-year-old scholar. He was ahead of his time too. And Bobby Rush, and it was another guy who left the house that night, who was said to have put the sleeping agent in the Kool-Aid so Fred Hampton and Mark Clark would be unable to respond to the gunfire. And I believe, and I just know that Bobby Rush had some involvement in it. And then he becomes an alderman. He gets on the city council from being a violent Panther, being on the city council. Now you understand what I'm saying? This group out of Baltimore, Precise Science. Brother in the red, black, and green, rest in power, Rough Mike Logan, who made the ascension in March. You know, very, very strong brother. He was multi-talented and had the rap flow. I would put him up against any rapper in the game today. Any of them. Brother Freedom Writer, who does a lot of writing, and he's a poet. And just that combination of those two creates a unique sound filled with information, you know, to get your chakras lit and create a fire of liberation in your heart. Precise Science. Look him up. Look them up on YouTube. Listen to one of their main hits called Time. The one they dedicated to Geronimo Pratt and Gil Scott Hearn. Very, very powerful brothers. But Brother Rough Mike, rest in power, brother. Ida B. Wells, who was thrown off a train by a white man for not giving her seat up. Thrown off, physically thrown off. When she was thrown off that train, she went and got a 45, loaded it up, had extra bullets, and she said that would never happen again. And what she did was distribute lynching photos of our ancestors to the black community. That's why we were able to see photos of lynchings. And Ida B. Wells had a newspaper. She was a columnist, philanthropist, revolutionary. She was bad, man. This is the history that you need to focus on and understand. Robert F. Williams and his wife, they were down in North Carolina, and the Klan surrounded their house, and they were put under pressure, but they came out swinging and shooting. It was no game with Robert F. Williams, no game at all. The Grand Wizard feared him. And if you look at the movie, Forrest Whitaker was supposed to have played Robert F. Williams, a movie called Deacons for Defense. Check it out, it's on YouTube. The great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I could go on and on about the sister. I used to attend her lectures, which was every third Thursday of the month. Free lecture. Standing room only in Calwood University. And she was phenomenal. And when she put her petition out, which I signed, I was going around getting signatures for her, because the so-called white imposter Jews wanted to build something where her house was. They wanted her to move, and they were going to tear her house down. She's been living in for decades, and she refused to move. And then all of a sudden, she ends up having 2 major strokes in the home by herself, which I don't believe. I don't believe. Like I said, I believe she was murdered as well. Sojourner Truth. Bad sister. She wrote the book, Ain't I a Woman? Awesome. Noble Drew Ali, the Moore Science Temple of America, which I have a lot of respect for as well. Queen Yasantiwa, who in 1920 fought the Dutch and the British in Africa in a war. She had 90% women in her army. And they fought until they all literally were wiped out. But they fought the Dutch men and the British men. And they killed thousands of them. These sisters, led by this queen, Ya Asantewa. This is the real history, brothers and sisters. This is the shit. This is the shit here, the real shit of the real warriors. Not them same old people, and nothing against them, but we have a deeper, richer history than you can imagine. George Jackson and the Soledad brothers. George Jackson, who was the founder, of the BGF, Black Guerrilla Family, back in 1970. He had a sentence of 1 year to life. And Gary Doherty, the brother that played on CSI, he plays George Jackson in I forgot the name of the movie, but he did a magnificent job. But study George Jackson. Study George Jackson. Powerful brother. And Angela Davis and George Jackson were an item for a while. You know, that's why it was hard for me to accept that Angela Davis was a carpet muncher. You know, when I first heard it. Yeah, and she still takes the podium, takes to the rostrum talking, you know, black liberation and stuff with, you know, with pussy stains around her mouth. You know, and it just don't fly with me like that. You know. But George Jackson was a hell of a dude. 1,500 push-ups on his fingertips. Martial art expert. And what happened when the riots took place in the prison in San Quentin, he made a run for the fence and he was shot and murdered. Medgar Evers, shot in the back going in his house in front of his babies and his wife with a deer rifle by Della, what's his name? Della Beckwith. And Medgar Evers was the head of the NAACP, which he got out of that because he found out that the NAACP was some shit. And then he started going on his own down in the South, you know, and doing some of the most dangerous times. You know, Medgar Evers. And then if you want to pay homage to him and do a libation over him, you can go to Arlington Cemetery, because that's where his resting place is now. This Louis Farrakhan was a thorough Farrakhan, not the person I see today. And I'm just going to leave it as that. The great Dale Jones, who wrote the book Sex Prisoners, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You must get those books. Dale Jones, who used to be a musician, grew up with Bill Cosby, and was a powerful brother. I believe he was murdered as well. George G.M. James, who was murdered for the writing of this book. He was the author of this book, Stolen Legacy. George G.M. James, look him up. Stolen Legacy is the story and the information on how Kemetic history was robbed from us and hidden from us and given to another people. Where everybody thought that, you know, Cleopatra and all these people were European. You know, King Tut, which was Tut Ankerman, you know, which was a jet black brother. The George G.M. James, strong brother. Another brother, Bruce Lee. Incredible. I remember he was like, when I was 12 and 13, yeah, he passed in 1970, I think 73. You know, everybody wanted to be Bruce Lee at one time. Everybody had the nunchucks and, you know, doing all that, wow, ah, you know, all that shit. And, you know, because of Bruce Lee. Bad. All of his movies were sensational. It was like when Pac passed, I didn't want him to die. I didn't accept his death. I was hoping something would happen where it would have been a mistake. That's how much I admire Bruce Lee and his. A lot of y'all who know about Bruce Lee, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that was my man, Bruce. He was the first one with those nunchucks. You know, and the way he talked was kind of like light but firm. He had a light but firm voice. You must take your opponent and not blink when your opponent, you know, that's the type of voice he had. You know, very, very thorough. Very thorough. And a lot of people don't know he was Kato on the Green Hornet. This is for the, you know, some of the old school brothers and sisters that know about Batman and Robin when they used to come on TV with the show Green Hornet. And Bruce Lee was Kato. You know, that's Bruce Lee when he passed. You know, that was the show, the Green Hornet and Kato. As a child, I loved that show. Marvin Gaye. I consider him a hero for the work that he put in as far as What's Going On album. You know, and he was not afraid to speak his mind. You know, opposed to Berry Gordy was terrified of the Italian mobsters that owned Motown in the music industry for that much. For that matter, Marvin gave the brothers in Vietnam hope when they heard what's going on. Made them want to protect themselves more so they can get back home and chill and listen to Marvin Gaye. You know, it was a lot of songs made about those brothers. Free the Pain, Bring the Boys Home. I mean, a lot of Edward Moses, War, What Is It Good For? Absolutely nothing. I mean, it was, you know, our brothers over in Nam, they caught hell. And then when they got back over here, people spat on them, called them baby killers, and no benefits were available for them. Same as in Korea. Same as in Korea. But Marvin Gaye, and you already know what happened with Marvin Gaye, so I don't need to tell you all that. Clifton Powell, who's a homie, he's from here. And he stood up to the industry. He used his head. He knew when, who, and how to step to him. He went to Spike Lee's ass. You know. And I respect him for that. You know, because what happened, he never got a lot of leading roles. He was always the street villain or somebody that was dealing in corruption in the black community. You know. However, you know, he's a good fisher too. I fished with him once. And he's a good brother, strong brother that, you know, you never seen him with a dress on. Huey and Bobby. They try to give Huey this bad name, especially Bobby participated in that about the drug scene. But they never mention a lot of the good things Huey Newton had done. Very, very articulate, very highly intelligent, and was for the people. You know, and sometimes I get tired of that. Don't let, you know, one issue, you know, cloud your judgment about the person's entire being. Rakim, who I believe was the greatest rapper ever. He's also one of the realists. Next to DMX. I love DMX. Strong brother. what they tried to do when DMX spoke against the industry. They tried to set him up, lift him up, and just have everybody beat on him. You know, but he took it, shook it, and moved on. He knows better. What he's doing now, I'm not sure of. But I'm just talking about his energy and his demeanor. G. Coakley. There's no other individual on the planet that's a better and stronger lecturer and scholar, but especially lecturer. There's no black scholar that can out-lecture Steve Coakley. He is the best that ever came to the planet. The best that ever came. And I don't say these things, you know, personally, because I know him personally. Look at it, watch his DVDs, watch his lectures. Especially the one he did on about Dr. Khaled, the assassination of Khalid Muhammad. You know, and when he was in the hospital, I believe if he was here today, he would have said he was killed. Because the last time he said that if he go back in there again, he's not coming out. He said because they tried to kill him the first time. All the brothers that have been murdered by cops. And I'm going to get back talking about, you know, because though this is not over. You know, father-in-law, Clarence 13X, in the black coat, who started 5% Nation and Nation of Gods and Earth. I believe he was ahead of his time as well. Dr. Barashango, Isha Musa Barashango, who wrote the book about the European holidays. Very, very powerful brother. Comes from Washington, D.C. Sister Harriet Tubman. Fruit, apples and peaches were her favorite fruits, and tobacco, and her weapons, her 245s and her rifle, her shotgun, you know. And she put her big hat on, and that's what she did. Went from plantation to plantation, leading our brothers and sisters to freedom. I will always be grateful to you. I've been over your house. I picked up rocks off your porch where you were born at. I've been on the wagon that you used for the Underground Railroad. I sat on that wagon with still the original hay. I've been in the church you used to go to that's still up. And your energy is alive and kicking. You know. And you're one of my favorites. You're one of my favorites. Dear elder ancestor. Nanny Helen Burroughs, who was one of the originators from charter schools in Washington, D.C. Very thorough. Ron Brown, who was murdered. Secretary, he was Clinton's Secretary of was it state was well anyway, during the Whitewater scandal, Clinton and Hillary wanted Ron Brown to take the charge, the beef. And Ron Brown stormed in Clinton's office and said, no, if I go down, we all going down. Ron Brown took a flight. The plane crashed. Not only did the plane crash and the pilot ejected himself, but Ron Brown was found on the plane with a bullet hole in the top of his head. Now, I saw his brother, Michael Brown. He lives in D.C., and he never knew anything about his father being murdered. So I had to break some things down to him. And for those who don't know, didn't or don't believe that Dr. King was Boule, that's the Boule Journal. Dr. King was Boule. I still deal with him. Ron Brown was Boule. Barack Obama, John Lewis, as you can see, they're Boule. Che Guevara, one of the strongest revolutionaries in South America. He wasn't an armchair revolutionary. You know, he got down in the trenches. Mickey Leland, who was Secretary of Commerce and had almost nearly stopped starvation in Ethiopia when he was set up and his plane hit a mountain. You see what I'm saying? Now you understand what I'm saying? You know, you do things to uplift the black community, and then all of a sudden, you know, shit like that. Your plane hits a wall, and Etta James, I give her a prop because she was the one who went to the morgue, you know, and released the information that she had about Sam Cooke, to know that he was not murdered by a female. You know, that the mobsters of the industry murdered Sam Cooke. And may she rest in power. Now, Colin Kaepernick and Glenn Coffey. Both of them, which one is the hero? Both of them born in 1987. Both of them played for the San Francisco 49ers. Both of them drafted in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. Colin Kaepernick refused to stand for the anthem because flag oppresses black people. Coffey gave up millions of dollars in the NFL career to serve in the military. So who is the hero? Glenn Coffey, Colin Kaepernick. My opinion, and it's based on blinders being put on Glenn Coffey. But I'll say both of them were heroes because Glenn Coffey's heart is in the right place. Just went in the wrong direction. And finally, before I close, I'll just say this. I'll say that both of them are heroes. You know, Colin Kaepernick, he wasn't bucking against the national anthem. Don't get it twisted. He was just saying that he's not standing based on the fact that people of color are still being oppressed. So why stand up and salute a flag that oppresses people? That's why he took a knee. But at the same time, Glenn Coffey, he you know, I was in the military. When you at that age where you think that you're doing the world a favor, you the red, white, and blue, and you know, being patriotic and serving the country, you know, trying to be a true hero, and you get there and you find out that the military is worse than being out here. It's more racism. Racism's so thick in the military you can cut it with a knife. Nevertheless, though, Glenn Coffey's heart is in the right place. He wants to do the right thing. But both of them are heroes in my book. Kaepernick just stands out more because he has, millions of people following him, opposed to Glenn Coffey, which this stuff has been done over and over by athletes going into the military and entertainers. So that's nothing new. But in closing, you see this beautiful baby. Could have been aborted, could have been given away, could have been cut open, organs, could have been shipped out. Look in that baby's eyes. That baby is looking dead at you. If you look long enough, you will see in that baby's eyes, you will see not only the baby, but you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of things, because I did that for a reason. So you can see the world through that baby's eyes. And if you look long enough, you're going to see a lot of things. Hope you saw enough. Now that you know this wasn't no trick or anything. This is just life. This is our babies demanding and pleading for us to step up to the plate and fight for their liberation. Give them an opportunity to be free. Let them see what freedom is like. Instead of constantly handing a drop ball to the next generation. Hotep, Black Power.